The morning sun streamed through the tall windows of Windsor Castle as Princess of Wales sat at her mahogany desk, reviewing the final proofs of their 2025 holiday card. Her fingers traced the elegant border of the photograph that would soon grace thousands of homes across the Commonwealth and beyond. This wasn't just another royal tradition. It was a carefully crafted message that would speak volumes about the monarchy's direction in the modern world. William walked into the room, still adjusting his crisp white shirt after their early morning meeting with palace advisors. He paused behind's chair, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder as he examined the card proof. The photograph showed their family in a candid moment at their Norfolk hall, captured during a private weekend away from the public eye. Unlike previous years' formal portraits, this image radiated warmth and authenticity. "Are you certain about this choice?" William asked softly, understanding the weight of their decision. The photograph they had selected was revolutionary in its simplicity. Gone were the ornate state rooms, the formal attire, and the rigid poses that had defined royal holiday cards for generations. Instead, the image showed the Wales family in their kitchen, flour-dusting's apron, as she helped Prince Louis roll cookie dough, while Charlotte and George laughed in the background, their school uniforms replaced by comfortable weekend clothes. Looked up at her husband, her eyes reflecting both determination and slight apprehension. "The people need to see us as we truly are," she replied. "This past year has shown us how important genuine connection is. The monarchy's future depends on our ability to bridge the gap between tradition and modern life." The decision hadn't come easily. For months, Palace Communications team had debated the appropriate tone for their holiday message. The royal family had faced unprecedented challenges in 2025, from economic pressures affecting working families across Britain to questions about the monarchy's relevance in an increasingly democratic world. And William understood that their holiday card needed to address these concerns without explicitly acknowledging them. The photograph's story began 3 weeks earlier during what was supposed to be a routine family weekend at Hall. The children had been helping prepare treats for a local charity event, a tradition she had established to teach them about service and community involvement. The kitchen had been filled with laughter and playful chaos as George attempted to demonstrate his improved baking skills. Charlotte insisted on decorating every cookie with intricate designs, and Louis managed to get more flour on himself than in the mixing bowl. William had been working in his study when the children's laughter drew him to the kitchen. He found his family in a moment of pure joy, completely removed from the formal protocols that governed their public lives. Was genuinely laughing as she attempted to salvage a batch of cookies that Louis had enthusiastically overmixed, her hair slightly disheveled, and her casual sweater dusted with baking ingredients. The scene struck William profoundly. This was the family life he had dreamed of providing for his children, a stark contrast to his own formal upbringing. His father, now King Charles III, had been loving but often distant, bound by the rigid expectations of his role. William had promised himself that his children would experience both royal duty and normal childhood moments. Sarah, their longtime photographer and trusted friend, had been present to document the charity preparation for internal palace records. She noticed William's expression as he watched his family and quietly suggested capturing a few candid shots. "These moments are precious," she whispered. "They show the real heart of your family." Initially hesitant, agreed to let Sarah take a few informal photographs. The resulting images were strikingly different from their usual formal portraits. They showed genuine emotion, real connection, and the kind of family dynamics that millions of families could recognize and relate to. When the Palace Communications team later reviewed potential holiday card options, these candid kitchen photographs stood out dramatically against the traditional formal alternatives. The images sparked intense debate among royal protocol experts. Some argued that such casual representation undermined the dignity of the monarchy, while others insisted that accessibility and were exactly what the institution needed. Found herself becoming the strongest advocate for the unconventional choice. Her years of public service had taught her the power of authentic connection. During her recent visits to family centers and community organizations, she had repeatedly heard people express feeling disconnected from the royal family. "They seem so perfect, so untouchable," one mother had confided during a visit to a children's hospital. "It's hard to imagine them dealing with the same daily struggles we face." That conversation had haunted for weeks. She began to see their holiday card as an opportunity to address this perception directly. The kitchen photograph, with its beautiful imperfection and genuine warmth, could serve as a bridge between the formal institution of monarchy and the human reality of family life. William initially worried about the precedent such a departure from tradition might set. Royal holiday cards had followed established patterns for decades, serving as formal representations of the monarchy's stability and continuity. Breaking from this tradition risked criticism from constitutional experts and traditionalist supporters who viewed such protocols as essential to royal dignity. However, arguments gradually convinced him. She pointed out that their generation of royals needed to demonstrate evolution while maintaining respect for tradition. The monarchy's survival depended on its ability to remain relevant to contemporary British society. A holiday card showing them as an approachable, relatable family could strengthen rather than weaken their connection to the people they served. The couple spent several evenings discussing the implications of their choice. They considered how the image might be interpreted by different audiences, from staunch monarchists to Republican critics. They worried about setting expectations for future royal communications and wondered whether their decision might influence how other royal families approached their public representation. Despite these concerns, they kept returning to the fundamental truth the photograph represented. This was genuinely who they were as a family. The laughter in the image wasn't performed for cameras. The flower on its apron wasn't strategically placed for effect. The children's expressions weren't coached by palace staff. The photograph captured an authentic moment that revealed their family's true character. The palace meeting room fell unusually quiet as William presented their holiday card choice to the senior royal staff. Private Secretary Sir Clive studied the proposed image with the careful attention he typically reserved for constitutional documents. The Archbishop of Canterbury, who traditionally blessed the royal family's Christmas message, leaned forward in his chair, his expression thoughtful rather than disapproving. "This is certainly unprecedented," Sir Clive finally commented, his tone neutral but his eyebrows slightly raised. "The kitchen setting, the casual attire, the general informality, it represents a significant departure from established protocol." Straightened in her chair, prepared to defend their decision. "We believe the monarchy must evolve to remain meaningful to the people we serve," she said. "This photograph shows our family as we truly are, not as protocol dictates we should appear." The discussion that followed revealed deep divisions within the royal establishment. Traditionalists argued that royal imagery should maintain a certain elevated quality, distinguishing the monarchy from ordinary families. They worried that too much accessibility might diminish the sense of reverence and respect that had sustained the institution for centuries. Lady Elizabeth, the Queen's former lady-in-waiting and now a senior advisor, voiced these concerns directly. "The monarchy draws its strength from its position above ordinary politics and daily concerns," she explained. "When we appear too common, too accessible, we risk losing the mystique that makes us relevant." However, younger staff members and modernist advisors supported the Wales family's choice. They pointed to declining approval ratings among younger demographics and the increasing republicanism in some Commonwealth nations. "We cannot survive by maintaining distance," argued David, the palace's digital communications director. "Social media has transformed how people connect with public figures. Authenticity resonates more powerfully than formality." The debate extended beyond mere imagery to fundamental questions about the monarchy's role in contemporary British society. King Charles III, when consulted privately, expressed cautious support for his son and daughter-in-law's initiative. Having spent decades advocating for a more accessible monarchy, he understood their reasoning while remaining concerned about potential backlash from conservative supporters. "The institution must adapt or risk irrelevance," the king told William during a private phone conversation. "However, change must be implemented thoughtfully, with respect for the traditions that have sustained us through centuries of social transformation." Meanwhile, worked behind the scenes to build support for their decision among influential figures who could help shape public reception. She reached out to charitable organizations they supported, explaining how the more casual approach might help them connect with families facing economic hardship during the holiday season. Director of a family support center in Manchester where served as patron, immediately understood the strategic value. When families are struggling to put food on the table, seeing royals in their own kitchen, dealing with messy family moments, creates connection rather than resentment, she explained. It humanizes the monarchy in a way that could actually strengthen support. The psychological impact of royal imagery had become a subject of academic study in recent years. Doctor, a social psychologist at Cambridge University, had published research showing how formal royal portraits could increase feelings of social distance and inequality among viewing audiences. Conversely, more casual royal imagery tended to increase positive feelings toward the monarchy while reducing resentment about social privilege. Had read Doctor's research extensively, using it to support her arguments for the unconventional holiday card. She understood that their choice carried risks, but the potential benefits seemed to outweigh the concerns. The monarchy needed to demonstrate that it understood and empathized with ordinary family life, particularly during a period when many British families were struggling economically. The kitchen photograph accomplished this goal without sacrificing royal dignity. The image still showed a beautiful, well-appointed home and an obviously happy, healthy family. However, the setting and activity made them appear approachable and relatable rather than distant and privileged. William found himself increasingly convinced by the strategic arguments, but he also felt emotionally drawn to the choice. The photograph captured the family life he had always wanted to provide for his children. Unlike his own childhood, which had been marked by his parents' marital difficulties and the constant pressure of public scrutiny, his children appeared genuinely happy and secure in the image. The decision process also involved practical considerations that the public rarely considered. Holiday cards from senior royals were distributed to thousands of recipients, from heads of state to long-serving palace staff. Each recipient would interpret the image differently, and the palace needed to anticipate various reactions. International diplomatic considerations added another layer of complexity. Some cultures and governments expected formal representation from royal families, viewing casual imagery as potentially disrespectful. The palace's foreign affairs advisors worried about how the unconventional card might affect relationships with traditional monarchies in other countries. However, and William's research suggested that many international audiences, particularly younger populations, responded positively to more accessible royal imagery. Countries with republican systems of government sometimes viewed formal royal portraits as outdated symbols of inherited privilege, while more casual family imagery could be seen as refreshingly democratic. The couple also considered the timing of their decision. The 2025 holiday season came during a particularly challenging period for the monarchy. Public spending on royal events had faced criticism amid economic pressures affecting ordinary families. Social media discussions about royal privilege had intensified, with some commentators questioning the relevance of hereditary monarchy in a modern democratic society. Their unconventional holiday card could serve as a subtle response to these criticisms without directly acknowledging them. By showing their family in an ordinary domestic setting, they demonstrated their connection to everyday family life while avoiding any appearance of defensive reaction to public criticism. The photographic technique also supported their message. Sarah had captured the image using natural lighting from the kitchen windows, avoiding the artificial studio lighting typical of formal royal portraits. The composition felt spontaneous and unposed, despite careful consideration of angles and framing that ensured everyone appeared at their best. Color choices in their clothing had been deliberately casual but coordinated, creating visual harmony without appearing overly staged. Cream-colored sweater complemented the warm kitchen tones, while the children's varied clothing choices reflected genuine personal preferences rather than matching outfits that might seem artificial. These subtle technical decisions contributed to the photograph's overall impact. Viewers would unconsciously respond to the natural lighting and informal composition, creating feelings of warmth and accessibility that more formal imagery might not achieve. The palace's art and photography experts had analyzed these elements carefully, ensuring that the casual approach still met professional standards for official royal imagery. The final decision came during a quiet Sunday evening at Kensington Palace, and William sat in their private sitting room, surrounded by various holiday card proofs spread across the coffee table. The children had gone to bed after their usual bedtime story routine, leaving their parents to make the choice that would define their family's public image for the holiday season. "Look at this one more time," said, holding up the kitchen photograph. "Really look at it, what do you see?" William studied the image with fresh eyes, trying to view it as the public would. He saw his wife's genuine smile, the kind that appeared when she was truly happy rather than performing for cameras. He noticed George's concentration as he measured ingredients, Charlotte's artistic focus on cookie decoration, and Louis's pure joy in the messy creative process. "I see our family," he said simply. "I see who we really are when nobody's watching." That realization sealed their decision. The photograph wasn't just an image. It was a statement about their values and priorities. They were choosing to share their authentic selves rather than a polished version designed to meet traditional expectations. The technical process of producing the holiday cards required weeks of careful planning. The Royal Mail coordination ensured proper postage for international recipients. Palace protocol officers compiled distribution lists that included everyone from world leaders to longtime palace staff members. Each card would be personally signed by and William, a time-consuming process that demonstrated their respect for recipients. The card's design elements supported its message. Instead of elaborate gold embossing typical of formal royal correspondence, they chose simple, elegant typography. The message inside would be brief and heartfelt, focusing on family, service, and gratitude rather than formal holiday wishes that might sound distant or impersonal. Personally wrote the holiday message, revising it multiple times to achieve the right tone. She wanted words that felt genuine and warm while maintaining appropriate dignity for official royal correspondence. The final message read, "Wishing you and your loved ones the warmth and joy that come from sharing precious moments together, with heartfelt gratitude for your continued support and friendship." The language carefully balanced personal warmth with acknowledgement of their public role. References to precious moments connected directly to the photograph's casual family scene, while continued support and friendship recognized their relationship with recipients without sounding overly familiar or presumptuous. Meanwhile, palace staff prepared for various potential reactions to the unconventional choice. Media relations specialists developed response strategies for different types of criticism or praise. They anticipated questions about protocol changes, the monarchy's modernization efforts, and the symbolism of showing royals in domestic settings. International media specialists prepared explanatory materials for foreign journalists who might not understand the cultural significance of the departure from tradition. They developed talking points that emphasized the card's representation of contemporary British family life, while respecting the monarchy's historical role. Social media management became particularly important given the visual nature of the holiday card. Palace digital communications teams prepared content strategies that would maximize positive engagement while minimizing opportunities for negative commentary. They planned complementary social media posts that would contextualize the card within the Wales family's broader charitable work and community engagement. The children remained largely unaware of the significance of their parents' choice. For George, Charlotte, and Louis, the kitchen photograph simply captured a fun afternoon of baking with their mother. They were accustomed to photographers documenting various family activities, and this session had felt particularly relaxed and enjoyable. Appreciated her children's natural reactions in the photograph. Their expressions and body language couldn't be coached or artificially produced. George's slight smile as he concentrated on his baking task reflected his developing sense of responsibility and pride in contributing to family activities. Charlotte's creative focus on cookie decoration showed her artistic personality and attention to detail. Louis's enthusiastic engagement with the messy aspects of baking captured his joyful, energetic approach to new experiences. These authentic childhood moments would resonate with parents and families worldwide. The photograph showed that royal children, despite their privileged circumstances, exhibited the same curiosity, creativity, and enthusiasm as children everywhere. This connection could help bridge the gap between the monarchy and ordinary families. The timing of the card's release was carefully coordinated to maximize positive impact. Palace communications teams planned to release the image during a period when no major political controversies or negative news stories might overshadow its reception. They wanted the holiday card to dominate news cycles for its positive message, rather than being buried beneath other stories. International coordination ensured that Commonwealth nations would receive the cards and associated publicity materials simultaneously, preventing any appearance of favoritism or hierarchy in distribution. This attention to diplomatic protocol remained important even when the card's content was deliberately informal. Its role in advocating for the unconventional choice reflected her growing confidence in shaping the monarchy's public image. Since joining the royal family, she had demonstrated exceptional instincts for public relations and community engagement. Her background in communications and her years of observing public reactions to royal activities had given her valuable insights into effective royal imagery. This holiday card decision represented perhaps her most significant influence on royal tradition to date. By successfully advocating for a dramatic departure from established protocol, she was helping to define the monarchy's future direction under her generation's leadership. William's support for his wife's vision demonstrated their partnership in modernizing the monarchy while respecting its essential traditions. Their collaboration on this decision reflected the equal partnership they had established in both their marriage and their royal roles. Neither dominated the decision-making process. Instead, they worked together to reach a choice that reflected their shared values and vision for their family's public representation. The weeks leading up to the card's distribution were filled with anticipation and occasional anxiety, and William both wondered how their choice would be received by various audiences. They felt confident in their reasoning, but they also understood that public reception could be unpredictable. Private conversations with trusted friends and family members provided some reassurance. Those who had seen preview images generally responded positively, commenting on the photograph's warmth and the family's obvious happiness. These reactions suggested that the public might also appreciate the more accessible approach. However, they also prepared themselves for criticism from traditionalists who might view their choice as inappropriate or damaging to royal dignity. They understood that change often provoked resistance, particularly within institutions as historically conscious as the British monarchy. The moment of truth arrived on a crisp December morning when the first holiday cards were delivered to selected recipients as an advance preview. Checked her phone nervously throughout the day, waiting for initial reactions from trusted contacts who had received early copies. The palace communications team monitored social media and news outlets for any leaked images or early commentary. The first reaction came from at the Manchester Family Support Center. Her text message, too, was simple but powerful. "This is exactly what families need to see right now. Thank you for showing that even royal families deal with kitchen chaos and messy moments. It's beautiful." Similar responses trickled in from other charitable organizations, community leaders, and long-serving palace staff. The consistency of positive reactions began to ease William's anxiety about their unconventional choice. People seemed to understand and appreciate the message they were trying to convey. When the official release happened 3 days later, the public reaction exceeded their most optimistic expectations. The photograph immediately went viral on social media, with thousands of people sharing it and commenting on its refreshing authenticity. Parents particularly connected with the image, sharing their own stories of kitchen baking adventures and family moments that looked remarkably similar to the royal family's experience. "Finally, royals who look like real people," one mother commented on Twitter. "My kitchen looks exactly like this when we bake cookies. It's nice to know even princess parents deal with flour everywhere and kids who want to help with everything." The media response was overwhelmingly positive, with commentators praising the Wales family's courage in breaking from tradition. Royal correspondents who had initially expressed private doubts about the informal approach found themselves writing positive articles about the monarchy's successful modernization efforts. However, the most meaningful reactions came from unexpected sources. A grandmother from Wales wrote a letter explaining how the photograph reminded her of baking with her own, making her feel connected to the royal family in a way she had never experienced before. A single father from Scotland shared on social media how the image gave him hope that successful families could be created through love and effort rather than perfect circumstances. International media coverage was equally positive, with journalists from Republican countries commenting favorably on the British monarchy's apparent evolution toward greater accessibility. The photograph was seen as evidence that hereditary institutions could adapt to contemporary democratic values without losing their essential character. The hidden message that William had embedded in their choice became increasingly clear through public reactions. They hadn't just selected a casual photograph. They had made a statement about the monarchy's relationship with ordinary British families. The kitchen setting represented the heart of family life, the place where real connections are formed and maintained. By showing themselves in this environment, dealing with the pleasant chaos of family baking, they had demonstrated that royal life included the same fundamental experiences that defined family life for everyone else. The flower on its apron and the children's enthusiastic participation in creating something together spoke to universal experiences of parenthood and family bonding. The strategic brilliance of their choice became apparent in subsequent weeks. Public approval ratings for the Wales family increased significantly, particularly among younger demographics and working families. The photograph had successfully bridged the gap between royal formality and everyday family life without appearing artificial or calculated. More importantly, the holiday card opened conversations about the monarchy's role that went beyond traditional debates about privilege and relevance. Instead of defending their position or explaining their value, and William had simply shown who they were as people. This approach proved far more effective than formal arguments about constitutional importance or historical tradition. The success of their unconventional choice influenced other royal family members to consider similar approaches to their public representation. The broader royal family began incorporating more casual elements into their official photography and public appearances, following the example set by the Wales family's holiday card. His vision had been vindicated by public response, but she remained characteristically modest about the achievement. During a private family dinner at Hall, she reflected on the experience with William and the children. "I think people just wanted to see that we're real," she said. "That despite all the formal protocols and public duties, we're still a family that bakes cookies together and laughs when everything gets messy." The children, now aware that their baking afternoon had become a significant public moment, took the attention in stride. George expressed pride that their family photograph had made people happy. Charlotte was delighted that people appreciated her cookie decorating skills. Louis remained primarily interested in when they could bake cookies again. Their natural reactions reminded and William why their choice had been correct. The photograph had captured genuine family moments because genuine family life was exactly what they had been living. The public had responded positively because the authenticity was unmistakable. The holiday season continued with traditional royal engagements, but the context had changed. When and William appeared at formal events, people saw them differently. The kitchen photograph had humanized them without diminishing their royal dignity. They remained figures of respect and admiration, but now they were also seen as relatable parents who understood the realities of modern family life. The long-term impact of their decision extended beyond immediate public relations benefits. The holiday card had established a new model for royal communication that balanced tradition with accessibility. Future royal imagery would be evaluated against this standard, encouraging continued evolution in how the monarchy presented itself to the public. As the holiday season drew to a close, and William reflected on their bold choice during a quiet evening at home. The cards had been distributed worldwide, carrying their message of family warmth and authentic connection to thousands of recipients. The positive response had validated their instincts about what the monarchy needed to remain relevant and beloved. "We showed them who we really are," William said, looking at a framed copy of the photograph that now hung in their private sitting room. "And it turned out that who we really are was exactly what they wanted to see." Smiled, remembering the morning she had first advocated for the unconventional choice. "Sometimes the biggest risk is also the most obvious truth," she replied. "We're a family first, and everything else we do grows from that foundation." The photograph would become one of the most memorable royal images of 2025, marking a pivotal moment in the monarchy's evolution. Years later, royal historians would point to and William's holiday card as evidence of the institution's ability to adapt and thrive by embracing authentic connection with the people it served. Their hidden message had been successfully communicated. The British royal family understood and shared the fundamental experiences that defined family life for everyone else. In choosing to reveal their authentic selves rather than maintaining formal distance, they had strengthened rather than weakened their connection to the nation and the Commonwealth. The kitchen photograph proved that sometimes the most radical choice is simply to be honest about who you are. And William's courage in making that choice had transformed not just their own public image, but the entire monarchy's relationship with the modern world.